So I was fired today and wanted to come on because I feel like, number one, this happens to a lot of people, and I was really blindsided by it. The reason I wanted to come on, number one, is because I feel like this happens to a lot of people, and it's like shocking and a lot to process. You work for a company with people for a long time, and then to like just get a Zoom, or like, this was like a random meeting put on my calendar, and it only showed like my manager on it. I didn't know like the HR person was gonna be on too, and then they just like said it very kind of coldly and then they just read out like the severance stuff and just said like, it's your last day, effective immediately, and then just like log off, and you're just kind of like, what is happening? And I think the problem for me is, so they said it was because of a conflict of interest, and essentially at the start of the year, my husband, who worked at the same company as me at the time, he quit because he didn't, he wanted to pursue other things. And at the time, I remember them being really pissed about it because my husband is really good at his job. He's really good at sales, and they just kind of lost this really great salesperson. So they were blindsided by him leaving. And then one day randomly, my manager called me. It was like, how's it going? Normal conversation. And then he goes on to like completely blindsides me, and he's like, so where's Tanner going? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, he's just figuring out what he wants to do. We have a couple real rental properties. And I was like, he's gonna work on like managing them, and yeah, like, I don't know. That was like it. I just said he doesn't know what he wants to do yet. He just wants to change like what he's doing. And then he's like, well, if he ever works at one of our competitors, then that's good, and you guys live in the same household, that's going to be a real problem. And I'm like, okay. It was just a really uncomfortable situation, and I felt like my job was being threatened at the time. So I get off the call, tell Tanner about it, and he's like, what the fuck? He didn't have, the balls to ask me directly about what I'm doing. Like, no questions about it to him when they had a conversation on the phone. But he'll go to my wife and try to get information out of her. So that just set him off. So we reported that to HR, had a conversation about it, and it was fine, moved on. I like reviewed the handbook and everything, and it didn't say anything about like, family or spouse working at another company. So flash forward to like April, May, and Tanner came out on LinkedIn and said he's working at this adjacent company now. And I'm guessing that's what set them off, because I got let go because of a conflict of interest. And it's because my husband works at a competitor company. My husband, not even me. And I'm just trying to process this. So like I went back to the handbook, and they added that your family cannot work at a competitor. Your family cannot work at a competitor. What?
Well, as you know, we care about veterans tremendously. I mean, that's something the president has always cared about. Anybody in blue, anybody that serves this country. But at the same time, we have taxpayer dollars. We have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work. That doesn't mean that we forget our veterans by any means. We are going to care for them in the right way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment, or not willing to come to work. And we can't, I wouldn't take money from you and pay somebody and say, sorry, they're not going to come to work. It's just not acceptable.
Hey, I just saw the video from Elena Haba from the Trump administration talking about veterans not being fit for service, not deserving the jobs they have. I don't understand what she means. I agree. None of us deserve the job we have. We earned the job we have. We fought for it. We got educated. We did what we had to do to learn how to do the job effectively. I'll tell you what we don't deserve is we don't deserve to be treated like this. We don't deserve to be thrown away. We don't deserve to have our careers lied about. We don't deserve to be treated in such a way.
Any federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. We are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
Does anybody feel like they understand better why they were fired after watching the speech tonight? Nobody. Yeah. When President Trump said,
my administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy,
it bugged you in a particular way. How come?
Well, I think for myself, being a presidential management fellow, this is a 100%, merit-based program. People coming in are taking jobs that have lesser pay. They want to serve the American public. And for you to, blanket statements saying the entire bureaucracy is untamed and, doesn't have any tethering to anything. I mean, look at us. We're everyday average Americans that just want to serve the American public, and we're not allowed to do that.
The part that I watched you react to most strongly was when he said,
the media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
What bugged you so much about that?
I think the demonization of immigrants in this speech today was as disappointing as it was frightening. And the thing that bothered me is it's a multifaceted approach that we need to attack the immigration problem, and it's been an issue over multiple presidents.
Which you yourself have been working on in terms of efficiency.
Definitely. Part of it are legislative fixes, but the other part are really process and tech improvements. And by getting rid of the subject matter experts that do this work for decades and the people who have the tech capabilities, and then more importantly, the trust that you build between agencies, you can gut something in 5 minutes, but to get the apparatus back up and running, that might take 5 years.
Hi, my name is Marian Rodriguez Soto.
My name is Daniel Leckie.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kelsey Hopland.
My name is Erin Lavick.
My name is Taylor Lawrence.
Hi, my name is Phil Mathias.
My name is Emily Connor, and for the last 11 months, I was employed by the Federal Transit Administration as a grants management specialist.
I've had the honor of working in my dream job as a historic preservation specialist for the General Services Administration.
I started working with the FAA in October 2024 as a Great Lakes Community Engagement Officer.
I'm a former soil conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
I was a health science policy analyst at the National Institute of Aging, a division of the NIH that focuses on Alzheimer's disease and related dementias.
I was a fish and wildlife biologist for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, New York Ecological Services Field Office.
I worked at the National Cancer Institute as the Chief Technology Officer and Deputy Director in the Division of Cancer Prevention. My role was to bring innovative technologies in this space to help come up with new ways to prevent cancers and to come up with ways to help manage the data that comes from these large-scale screening trials that we do to make it as available, accessible, and usable to the broader communities as possible.
If you've ever seen a news story about a major federal agency, those might be my buildings in the background. Without historic preservation specialists across government, there would be no one to ensure our nation's most important historic buildings, structures, monuments, and sites are protected from ill-conceived government actions that carelessly degrade them.
It was my job to work directly with public transportation agencies to make sure that they could get access to federal funding that they are entitled to by law. And now that we have so few people doing that job at the Federal Transit Administration, I really don't know how our public transportation agencies are going to stay afloat.
I went into public service because after running a research lab for 20 years, I wanted to make research more impactful and available to broader communities.
Working with the USDA has been a dream of mine since my childhood in Puerto Rico. Combining my love for the natural world while also supporting real people like farmers has been incredibly rewarding.
The reason why I got into public service was to ensure the survival of species such as these, and to eventually see them recover and become delisted from the Endangered Species Act.
Because I believe science should be accessible, equitable, and communicated clearly. I wanted to leverage my expertise to improve the health of everyday Americans, and I'm heartbroken by the loss of this opportunity.
I've always wanted my job to matter, and I've always wanted the work I do to make a difference rather than just making money for somebody else.
I've always found value working directly for the people. I'm proud to protect your heritage for your children and grandchildren.
I went into it because I'm a helper. I want to help people. I also am an American, just like you. This is our country, and I want to help make our country as great as it can be.
The work lets me make a lasting impact not only on the land, but also within my community.
I've been honored to be in the roles that I have been in public sector work, and I will continue to do so because at the end of the day, public service means serving the public.
Hey everyone, my face is dry. Just sitting in my car, bittersweet moment, just left the local VA clinic turning in my equipment from my remote job that was unfortunately terminated back on the 13th. I didn't think I would get upset because I know I did nothing wrong other than being on probation, but still hard not to take it personal when someone questions my work ethic and my integrity, and I hope that all of us affected can, I'm not worried about getting reinstated because I know they're still downsizing and trying to make cuts, but making it right that we were not terminated for performance. Some of my colleagues were denied unemployment because it was performance related, and it's just not fair that those things were done to us. So just wanted to share more. I'm not meaning to ask for pity or anything. Just, if you're a praying person, please say a prayer for my fellow federal employees that are affected and all the ones that are still employed that are going through reduction in forces right now and being forced into other positions or taking away their jobs and abolishing their jobs where they don't have any other options but to find work elsewhere. So anyway, just having an emotional moment. So I hope you guys all have a good day.
Nearly 6,000 federal employees with the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Okay, so technically this is me. If you go to the Office of Special Counsel's website, it's osc.gov, you can read the article there. It's basically saying that the almost 6,000 of us that were let go on our probationary terms for the USDA will be reinstated. So I am not sure what that means as far as timeline goes. I did talk to my supervisor. He reached out to me today and sent me the article, asked if I had heard anything yet, and he doesn't know anything, but he will keep me posted. So yeah, I guess I don't really know anything yet. I'm not going to get my hopes up only because it's just a temporary stay. So they could technically send us back to work. And then in the middle of April, when the stay is over, they could fire us all over again. So I am not getting my hopes up. If I could work for another month, that would be amazing. That would be great. I would absolutely go back and do it. I hope they did not get rid of my computer or my ID card, because that would be kind of comical to go back and not have my computer or my ID card, because I would not be able to get anything done or work. If they didn't get rid of it, I can log in and get right back to work and pick up where I left off for the month that I've been terminated, and no big deal. What a stressful freaking month off, but we made it, I guess, right? So that is what I know. So for anybody in the USDA that was fired due to being probationary since February 13th, it looks like we could possibly be reinstated here real soon. I had been there 8 years, took a promotion back in September, so I was technically considered probationary, unfortunately, and I lost my job on February 13th. So that is what I know, and if I know anything else, I will keep you guys updated as I know things. So yeah, that's all I know. So humankind, you guys, be both.
Are you anti-Trump like I am? Do you post
Of
up?
course I am.
So let me ask, there's a reason why I'm asking you that. I think you know the reason. Do you think that had something to do with your firing?
Well, I got a story for you, man.
I'm ready. Let's hear it.
So 2 weeks ago, I was working at the VA, Los Angeles, mind you. And I have a calendar invite from my director who says, hey, calendar meeting in half an hour. And of course, I call my bosses. They're lost. They have no idea. I go on the call, and somebody from D.C., in other words, Doge, is on the call with my director.
Wow.
From Los Angeles, mind you. I'm a federal employee, and they fire me.
Wow.
And they said to me, and I quote, hey, you can't speak on this call. There's no union for you. I'm like, there's no union for me. I'm part of the AFG. We don't care. Shut up. And blah, blah, blah. And they literally terminated me.
And did they give you a reason?
Yeah, they said performance. All bullshit. Now, this is important for you. Check your Twitter because I sent you a message a minute ago. Guess who I was awarded by 6 months ago? I got an award from somebody.
Who?
The VA Undersecretary Josh Jacobs. They
Really?
gave me an award for the Employee of the Quarter.
Wow.
I sent you a picture to your Twitter. So in other words, they fired me for performance. Yet 6 months ago, I received an award from the VA Undersecretary. What's that tell you, man?
It's all, like you said, it's BS. It's nonsense. You probably were doing a really good job there, and they don't care. They don't. Let me ask you another question. Are you anti-Trump like I am? Do you post stuff?
Of course I am.
So let me ask, there's a reason why I'm asking you that. I think you know the reason. Do you think that had something to do with your firing?
Of course. And here's why. So 2 weeks before the firing, we got these emails, and I'm sure you heard about the emails.
Yeah.
Oh, DEI BS. And the VA had a template to send to all the employees. Oh, DEI is BS. DEI is a waste of money for the American people. All this BS.
Yeah.
So I messaged my director. We were all pissed. I messaged the union. I'm like, wait a second. Do I work for the Trump administration now, or am I still a VA employee? What's this garbage? And so I think that feedback came back to them, knowing this guy got an Employee of the Quarter. This guy was our shining star, but now we think he's actually a Biden guy. Get rid of him. And that's what happened.
Wow. Well, Jesse, let me tell you something, my friend. You're going to be okay. You're going to land back on your feet. I know that doesn't sound great right now, and it doesn't solve all of your problems, but I'm with you. I'm sorry that this has happened to you, and I'm sorry that we are in an oligarchy and we are in a dictatorship, my friend. Here's what I want you to do.
Guess what, though?
Yeah.
Guess what, though? I have one thing for you.
Yeah.
I did submit a congressional inquiry to the VA, who, by the way, they're yet to respond to. So they're afraid, man. So I'm fighting back, believe me.
Please continue to fight back. If there's anything we can do on this show to help you, I'm here for you. I want you to keep calling in, and I want you to update me, okay? Please do so, and I'm going to share your story on all my social media platforms for everybody to hear, and that is my promise to you, and we will do that today, okay?
Sounds like wrongful
And by the way, please, one last thing too, to all the veterans out there, thank you for your service. Even though you don't think that people care, people actually care about it. So thank you.
Absolutely, and I'm one of them, Jesse. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your call, my friend.
God bless.
Hi, everyone. Please pardon my appearance as it is after 4 a.m. on Tuesday, February 18th. And I wanted to come on here as one of the thousands of federal employees who lost their job with the federal government this weekend. More specifically, I was removed from my position through an email from an unrecognized HR account from my agency around 1 p.m. on Saturday of this holiday weekend. No one within my chain of supervision was involved in this decision. I have gone through the entire range of emotions this past weekend. There is a lot of sadness in my heart. There is also a lot of anger. The firing of thousands of federal employees across the government is going to have detrimental impacts on regular people like yourself watching this video. My position with my healthcare agency was involved in Affordable Care Act, health insurance marketplace policy and operations. And so I was one of the people regulating health insurers to make sure that they were not selling you junk insurance, making sure that they were covering all the benefits that they had to cover, charging you a fair amount of cost sharing, making sure that they weren't discriminating against you based on your health conditions or health status. And with fewer people like myself in the government, you can imagine the impact that that will have on the regulation of massive corporations. And I think that's part of the point of all of this. I have gone back and forth all weekend with what comes next for me. I was a dentist before moving to DC. I graduated from dental school and put my clinical career on pause in order to move here and try to make a difference. I wanted to make dental care more accessible and affordable for people, and I felt like I finally had that opportunity in this job that I was just let go of. One of the hardest parts of all of this is that I don't know if I've really made a difference. I'm really at a loss for direction right now in what I'm doing with my life, and I'm really not sure what comes next for me, but whatever it is, hoping to make the best of it, as we always do, and really appreciate all the love and support of people out there who recognize just how cruel this is. I'm sending love to all of my federal workers out there who are either hanging on to their jobs still or were just let go this weekend. I know the pain that you're feeling, and you know, the entire network has been so supportive, and I want to offer that same support to all of you. If there's any lessons to be drawn from this, it is that we do not need the richest people in the world controlling our government. Our government is supposed to be for the people, and the only purpose of all of this is not to decrease the federal deficit or decrease spending like they're claiming. We make up such a small portion of federal government spending. It's really to decrease regulation and allow businesses to go unregulated and take control of the economy. So I think we're in a really dark time, and it's going to take a lot of work for all of us to rebuild from this, but I am committed to doing that work in whatever role comes next, and I hope you all understand the gravity of this moment and do your own part to chip in. So I don't know what else to say, but for now, just wanted to share my story and send my love to anyone else going through this. All right.
They're slashing staff, crushing unions, and selling out the VA for what? So billionaires can make more money while veterans sit on wait list. Or worse, they'll get no treatment. Our president was asleep while Musk was at the wheel. Do you know what happens to a service member when they fall asleep when they're on duty? Veterans don't trust him. He's not one of us.
So that was Eric Rodriguez. He's a veteran of the war in Iraq. He was reacting to the news that the Trump administration is cutting thousands of jobs from the Department of Veterans Affairs. On that, the AP reports this, quote, "The Department of Veterans Affairs is planning a reorganization that includes cutting more than 80,000 jobs." Wow, 80,000 jobs from the agency that provides health care for retired military members. The VA's chief of staff told top-level officials at the agency Tuesday that it had an objective to cut enough employees to return to 2019 staffing levels of just under 400,000. That would require terminating tens of thousands of employees after the VA had expanded during the Biden administration, as well as to cover veterans impacted by burn pits. For some veterans, that means not just worrying about what this means for their health care and their family's health care. They could also lose their jobs entirely. More than 25% of the VA's staff and workforce is made up of veterans.
How did it feel when Murkowski threw you out? Everybody move, please. Everybody keep I'm not worried about me.
It's been an emotional roller coaster. I came to USAID intending on staying there for as long as I could. I really loved the work that we were doing, and now I don't know what to do. And I have cried every day. I think that that's normal. I have a 15-month-old at home, and I'm looking at him and thinking, well, what's this country that we're now living in?